Hi guys, it's Ashley from Ashley's Paper Heart, and I just want to say welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome for the first time. So glad you're here. I thought today we could do a journal with me and my Hobonichi cousin. So if you're new here, my Hobonichi is my main journal, my main daily journal, and I use it kind of like an art journal slash memory keeper. I do a lot of like kind of day in the life of what we're doing as a family. There's nothing like super personal that I put in there. And that's kind of the gist of what I use this specific journal for. So this spread is actually from the beginning of March. And so I have quite a bit of footage that I had filmed in late February and throughout the month of March that I just haven't got around to editing yet. So I thought I'd go ahead and try to like get some of these up since I already had the footage. I might as well use it. So a journal with me is a journal with me. But anyways, on this specific spread, I decided to use some photos from a hike that I had taken with my husband at a place called Paramount Ranch, which is actually incredibly close to us. It's like less than 5 miles. So Paramount Ranch, as the name would imply, it was owned by Paramount Studios at one point, but now I believe that they had sold it or given it to the state of California. So I believe it's a state park now. And this place is really beautiful. There are trails, there's an open area like right before the trails. And in that open area, there used to be like a full set of an Old West town. So I think 2 years ago, the Woolly Fire had come through the Santa Monica Mountains and burned down the majority of the Old West town out there. I do think at some point they may end up reconstructing it, but I don't know at this point. Right now, they kind of have everything blocked off where the set was. So, yeah, you can't really go like on the specific area, but it's literally just a big empty patch of grass right now. There were a few structures that did survive the fire. So the church survived the fire, which I guess makes sense because it's kind of away from where the like main town was. And then also like their faux train station set survived the fire. So those things are still up, and then there's a few bridges and whatnot that kind of is sprinkled around the area, and it's still a really cool place. It's cool to see those sets. They're like just miniature versions of what you would expect a real, thing to be. We like to take our kids there a lot. There because of the big open space before the trails. It's a really good place for them to just kind of play and explore without having to worry about trail etiquette, running into other hikers, or getting trampled by someone on a mountain bike. But yeah, our kids love it there and we love it there, and we go pretty frequently. It's really beautiful. It's kind of nestled in the Santa Monica Mountains, and it's just stunning. It's really nice. So the picture that is on the bottom right hand side is actually a photo from the trailhead of the Coyote Trail. So the Coyote Trail there is very appropriately named. We have seen so many coyotes when we have hiked through there, and it's pretty cool to see them just kind of out and about doing their thing. I had some people ask me if I was afraid of the coyotes, and no, I'm not. They're not, coyotes are scavengers, so they're not aggressive unless they have to be, and the only real time that you have to worry about them is during the season, like in springtime when the pups are being born, because like every mother, they want to protect their young, so you don't get close to them, and you keep your distance and keep in mind that they are wild animals and not here for our entertainment. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. They usually keep their distance. They're easily frightened. I mean, you could literally wave a big stick or blow a whistle or something, and they would run away. They're not looking to attack people or whatever. Um, so yeah, we've seen lots of coyotes and we've seen a few pups as well. And we've seen so many like beautiful birds out there. There's woodpeckers and bluebirds that we've seen. Um, I think we've seen a few snakes, which kind of comes with the territory. There are a lot of snakes out here, especially on the trails. And so when we are doing like the hiking, like up on the trails, we typically it would just be my husband and I. I'm not fully comfortable taking my kids out on the trail like that, where I know there are like, animals that could be a potential threat, just because they're not at the age yet to like completely follow instructions. So I don't want to be like screaming at my kid to get away from something when they're like super curious and them not listening and then something happens. So we typically will do those trails, just my husband and I, and it's really fun. Hiking has always been something that my husband and I have loved doing together, and it's really great when we can have, someone to watch the kids so we can go out and do that on our own. So, on the Coyote Trail, it's actually just a loop. It might be a couple mile long loop. So, but it is fairly easy. There is some of an incline going up the mountain, and then it comes back down. And there are different like offshoots of the trail that will take you back to the beginning a little bit quicker, or you can make it longer and kind of connect with some of the other trails that are out there. So on those trails, there are also quite a few companies that do horseback tours. Um, we haven't done that. I'm not like a huge horse person. um, but it's fun to see people out there on their horses. And the kids always love waving at the horses and saying hi to the people on the tours. So that's amusing at the very least. And on this spread, I wanted to pull a lot of my color choices from the actual photos. I really wanted everything to mesh well together and kind of reflect nature, since that is really the whole gist of what I'm journaling about on these pages, or what I will be journaling about. I am using some of I think it's, oh gosh, I can't remember the maker. It's a clear PET tape with a bunch of florals. So I was cutting out the individual florals and kind of sticking them as accents around the page. It really like meshed in well and brought out like the colors of the other pieces of paper that I decided to use. I did a lot of like small torn pieces of paper and really build up the collage from that. I do enjoy doing that, and honestly, I feel like that's kind of my signature style. I also added a small tip-in up at the top right hand side. This was done on like, I think, typewriter paper, and I used a stamp and of like a stationary item and just put that up there. I really, really want to do more tip-ins, but like I've said in my other videos, I'm always afraid of bulking up my journal too much. But now that I'm kind of getting towards the end of my journal, I feel like I'm gonna start just throwing them in more, because I think, what are we in, May? So that means I only have a couple months left in that specific book. So maybe I'll start adding some more here and there. So during the pandemic and over the past year, I feel like our family has really appreciated nature a whole lot more than we did before. And that's not to say that we didn't appreciate, because we definitely were outdoorsy before. But I feel like with all the lockdowns and restrictions, that the trails really were our solace this last year. Just kind of reconnecting with nature and remembering that there's a bigger world out there than just, shopping or, going inside like businesses. There's such a big world out there. I hope that my children will take that lesson with them as they grow up, and that they'll appreciate and love nature as much as I do. I know when I was a kid, I spent so much time outside, and this past year, I've probably spent just as much time as I did as a child outside with my kids. So it's kind of like it all comes full circle. And now that we're getting to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. I'd love to hear about what you and your family have done outdoorsy over the past year. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.